For more, we're joined by Maziyar Ghiabi. He's an Associate Professor of Social Sciences and Director of the Center of Persian and Iranian Studies at the University of Exeter. Professor Ghiabi, political uncertainty in Iran right now, how big of an impact will Ebrahim Raisi's death have on Iran and the wider region?
It is quite a shock, of course, and it comes at a time of incredible tensions across the region and internationally. Domestically, in terms of political processes, it might bear less weight than what people may think it does, because Iran has quite a consolidated system of crisis management, and the internal process has already been put in place. Now, there might be tensions and challenges between political factions to find solutions to a successor. But at the same time, President Raisi was not a particularly influential political figure, although he was president. There were many others that had lots of influence in Iran's political projection of power outside of Iran and domestically. So he was quite lackluster as a politician and a loyal ally to the supreme leader, who in reality, he really gave direction to Iran's policies.
That being said, Professor Ghiabi, I mean, and specifically looking at those tensions that you mentioned earlier, the fact that they are rising in the region, would you anticipate that his death will have no impact on perhaps ratcheting up tensions further in the region?
No, of course. I mean, I think we are at a political juncture in which history seems to pick up speed, so to say, and things seem to be escalating by the day. But at the same time, let's remember that Iran has kept a sort of relatively continuously unchanging foreign policy throughout the decades, and changing presidency has not really meant a dramatic change in foreign policy. Different is, of course, if it comes out or if someone plays the card that this accident was not an accident and it was perhaps an attack or a sabotage by a foreign power. And that will, of course, mean something else. But I don't think anyone is interested at the moment to further escalate this, including inside Iran.
Right. Well, considering the fact that continuity and stability is anticipated to continue, could this development, though, present an opening for Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps to perhaps gain even more control over the country's political direction domestically?
So, from the way I see it, President Raisi was a political shell, who was used for a certain faction within Iranian politics, right-wing conservatives, to gain prominence and power. The Islamic Revolutionary Guards, the Revolutionary Guards will maintain their influence throughout the system. They have the full support of the supreme leader, and they work very much across the board of the current legislature and executive of Iran. So I don't think it signifies any specific or dramatic change in the balance of power of Iran's domestic politics as such.
Right.
It is a bit of a headache, of course, because it needs Iran needs now to have elections to elect the next president. And there's a shortage of political candidates or viable political candidates. And this might be perhaps the biggest problem.
Professor, a quick final question for you. President Raisi, he was widely tipped to succeed the supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. With his passing, though, who are the potential contenders who might fill that space?
It's a very difficult question to answer, and I would disagree. Apologies that he was tipped to be the next supreme leader. It's actually relatively unknown who is going to be the next, and he was one of the candidates, but definitely not more likely than any other top candidate. There's a lot of talking about the supreme leader, current supreme leader's sons, Mojtaba, who might be coming into his father's place. But That's also might be allegations fomented mostly by Iranian diaspora. We don't know, and there is a body that is going to be elected this year through popular elections, and that body, which is called the Assembly of Experts, will elect, when the time comes, the next supreme leader.
Right.
And historically, clerical politics everywhere, but particularly in Iran, sees a lot of negotiations, bargaining, and dealings. And it's really hard to know what is the outcome of all of these changes and negotiations. And this was the case even 40 or so years ago, 35 years ago, when the current supreme leader was elected. It was a surprise to many, including to himself, it seems.
Professor Ghiabi, thank you for your perspectives on this. Maziyar Ghiabi there, Associate Professor of Social Sciences and Director of the Center of Persian and Iranian Studies at the University of Exeter. Thank you.